This is the start of another episode.
Sorry, I'm good at filling holes.
You said Dan told me that. The topic of conversation is Nintendo and their Switch.
Oh,
everybody's watched the press conference, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, as much as I could get through.
It was. I feel for the dude that was translating.
Oh man,
poor human being. But to be fair, he did a good job at doing his job. It's just he was bored. You could tell he was bored, and that pretty much echoes the entire sentiment of everyone. I think.
I watched it 3 times just to be sure.
Just to be sure that it was boring.
Yeah, like just to be sure that I was like, is that it? Is there a reason why I'm not getting excited for this? Is there a reason I'm not excited for these games? Like, I'm
Well, we can run through the games because that's going to be a short conversation.
Oh yeah, Zelda and Mario. That's about it. The ones that have any merit.
Even on a serious note, the launch titles are. It takes Zelda away, and that thing doesn't sell. Like I don't see what else people are going to buy. 1-2 Switch is aiming at that. You know, like it's the same thing Wii Sports did. The difference being Wii Sports came bundled with the damn console.
Yeah, I know, right?
Am I going to spend $60 on 1-2 Switch?
No one's going to buy that game at launch when you've got Zelda sitting next to it. Precisely. I'd even buy ARMS over 1-2 Switch, for God's sake.
And it'll get to 1-2 Switch isn't a launch title, so you couldn't do that. Sorry, ARMS isn't a launch title, so you can.
It isn't. Oh.
No.
I'll go through the launch games because there's only 5 at launch.
Wow.
Which you've got 1-2 Switch, you've got Just Dance 2017, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Skylanders Imaginators, and Super Bomberman R.
So these are the game to buy.
Not even Skyrim, a 20-year-old game, isn't out at launch.
I like that it's gone from a 10-year-old to a 20-year-old game in the last 3 minutes.
Oh my god, that's pathetic. Like, I mean, look, my he's pre-ordered a Switch and he's super hyped because he loves Zelda, which is cool, and that's got what he wants right there off the bat. He's not going to bother with any other games. That's what he wants, and that's cool. But for me, I saw that Mario trailer. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, Mario, cool. Like that's something. I love Mario, but even that game left me underwhelmed because I was like, no, I don't want Mario in New York or Chicago or whatever it is. Like the memes that are going around about it looks like Sonic 2006, and it just doesn't. It's not what the Mario I wanted. I just wanted a sequel to Mario 64, which looks like it's trying to be, but it's not in the Mushroom Kingdom, for fuck's sake. Like seriously. What are you doing? I get you trying to do something.
Just give me a HD remaster of Mario 64.
Yeah,
or just a lot prettier and controllable.
Slap some new levels on there and call it, Super Mario
2017.
Yeah,
and that ain't coming out till the holiday.
And I still don't think it hits it. I don't think it hits this year. I really don't think it does. I don't know what else is going to come out this year.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm looking at the things that they have announced with some type of date. So things like ARMS is spring, Has Been Heroes March.
It's not a date though. It's not like
I Am Setsuna March, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe April 28.
That has an actual date. Why is that not a launch title? Why is it not a launch title?
I know, right?
I know. Why wouldn't you just release it in April?
Why wouldn't you just release it on March 3rd?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if the game's not ready, okay, I understand that. But why are they releasing the Switch in March and not just release it in April when they have more games?
Yeah.
Like, what's in April that's gonna interfere with it?
Yeah. Whereas in March, it's touching the point of interfering with Horizon, and in March as well, it crosses with Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, two absolutely massive experiences that a lot of people are excited for. And I get that the fan bases may be different. I'm in a different pool because I'm buying one, but much for the same, like Chunt said, his brother's game one. It's all about Zelda for me. I've been waiting to play this game for a long time. Sold my fucking Wii thinking the Switch was going to be worthwhile buying, and we don't know enough about it. Like that launch lineup, I won't buy another game for the Nintendo Switch. Probably, I'll get Mario Kart probably, because that's something where you can utilize. Oh, look, I've got a spare controller. I'm sat in the airport, play Mario Kart with me. Like, that shit's cool. But after that, am I going to buy FIFA for it? Probably not. Skyrim. If I finish Zelda, maybe. I've got a lot of flying around the world to do this year. Do you know? I mean, it's things like that, and it's.
Yeah, but do you want to throw down $400 or $500 just to play Zelda?
This is my thing. Do you feel torn? Because you see a lot of people on the internet talking about it, and they're saying, well, you know, the press conference sucks, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm still getting it, but come on, why can't you? And at the end of the day, aren't Nintendo like looking at that saying, well, you're buying the console?
Yeah, they're the problem.
Like, they don't see a problem if people still buy the console, even if it is for Legend of Zelda. So do you feel torn about that?
Yes, I feel exactly the same thing, because that's what we were talking about the other day. I was disappointed in the press conference. I'm disappointed, not in the hardware. The hardware looks phenomenal. The hardware looks different. It's like, do I need it to be as powerful as my Xbox? No, I own an Xbox, and that's not as powerful as my computer. I don't give a fuck about the power. What games am I going to be able to play on it? How am I going to be able to interact with the machine that's going to be different to how I usually do? So yeah, the fact that I can literally pick the device up, go jump in a taxi to the airport, or get on a bus to work and have that in my hand, picking up from where I'd left off, awesome. Absolutely brilliant.
In 2 hours.
But that's what I mean. So if you were in a city traveling and you were just going to commuting to and from work, there's plenty of time. And if you're on an airplane, everybody's got a bloody power pack these days, or you can plug it into the seat under you. Like, that's not too much of an issue. So the battery life, I don't think you're getting anywhere near 6 hours. I don't care what they say, no chance. 3 or 4 at best.
Unless you're playing a game that really doesn't push.
If you're playing a NES game, like from the virtual store, maybe.
My phone barely lasts a day as it is.
Yeah, but we accept the limitation of batteries, right? But the thing that got me was, show us some games. What am I going to be able to buy for it? And how am I going to be able to purchase this? The price, yes, it's expensive. Not too expensive. It's about the same price as what you can pick up a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One at the minute, not the price they came out at launch at. So I kind of see that.
I got my Gears of War 4 limited edition 2 terabyte console with a downloadable game copy of the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 4 for $550.
Yeah.
You know, and
with a massive
Switch,
library.
Yeah, and all these other games that I have access to, and the Switch, 32 gigabyte internal storage. It's $460 something here in Australia, and you don't get a pack-in game, and it's not even as powerful as the Xbox One is. Like, I guess they spent a lot of money on R&D or something. Well, they have to make their money back.
Yeah, by putting all this crazy shit into the controllers that people stopped asking for many years ago. Am I going to use motion controls?
There's a lot of question marks around this console, man. Like, a lot of WTFs all over the place.
And that's.
Do you want to talk about the online?
That's what I was just about to sort of move to. The online offer, they're not explaining this stuff. This is the stuff that's important. All right, you've shown us the hardware. It looks brilliant. I'm on board. Yes, it's a bit more expensive than I like. Why the fuck did they not bundle 2 sets of the same color controller if you want a colored version?
Yeah.
That is just greedy. Like, who wants a red and a blue controller? You want 2 blue ones or 2 red ones?
Yeah.
Like, come on. And to buy a spare set, $110.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Just to finish touching on the hardware SKU and price of things. The software and online kind of library. So we know eShop's going to be there, right? We don't know what's going to be available on it day dot. They're going to have to heavily rely on that eShop to start generating revenue because they haven't got games coming out. GameCube emulation, it's what has long been a rumor that they're going to have Virtual Console GameCube games. Not a word uttered. I think that's going to be saved for E3, just to give them something to talk about. And they'll have seen that Microsoft last year with back compat got a big kind of hoopla. Was that year before?
That was last year, I think.
Irrespective, it'll do them well.
I think, yeah.
So online services, we're going to get one SNES game or one NES game.
Yeah, to borrow.
To borrow, not to actually keep in your library.
You can use it for an entire month, and then once that month's up, you can't use it anymore.
This is what Nintendo don't understand. All of their competitors are getting. They've moved to the point where what they want to do is allow their customers to build a library on their platform. So they stick with their platform because that's where everything they own is. And Nintendo just don't seem to give a fuck about that. And it's disappointing because they've got the most reason to. They own Mario, Zelda, all these things that are Donkey Kong, these games that you can go back to, right back to the NES, and come forward to Wii U in the current generation that they've had, and go, there's games there that we can give out and keep people engaged.
Just to talk about now online, there is one little caveat which might soften the blow for a lot of people, is that they didn't announce how much online was going to cost.
If it stays like that, it just needs to be free.
Yeah, but if they're going to charge Xbox Live or PSN or PlayStation Plus prices, they're screwed. No one's going to pay that.
Yeah.
But if, I don't know, maybe $5.
I'm not going to pay $70 a year for a Nintendo subscription just to borrow games and have a really shit online service. I don't think so.
And it makes you wonder why they didn't tell us the price, unless they wanted to see how people thought about borrowing.
I think they want to see how it performs. That's maybe why. Well, look, there's two reasons why they've gone. It's free until fall. It's free until fall because you've got no games. First and foremost, and secondly, it'll give them a chance to see what the adoption rate of people using the features are. And then they can kind of set a price. But you're right, there's no way. Like, when you look at what we pay for PS Plus and Xbox Live, and, we get games like Rocket League that are then in our library forever as long as we keep paying the subscription. Or even look at EA Access, something like that. You pay EA Access, you've got access to Battlefield, to FIFA, to all of their sports titles, as well as things like Mass Effect. It costs $5 a month. Like, it's nothing. Nintendo...
People still complain about that.
But Nintendo have got all the right in the world to have a subscription-based library, and they're stupid if they don't see that. And I think there's a lot of decisions that are being made in the Japanese arm of Nintendo that are not taking into account Western civilization. I agree. I said to you guys the other day, there's sentiment from different people all over the place. That should have been an American direct. Let Reggie and co host it and let them put the message out, because what we got was just lukewarm. Or do the Japanese one, cool, and then rather than doing a treehouse the day after, do a direct before the treehouse, get us all hyped for it, and then do the treehouse. Don't just jump into the treehouse and go, hey, that thing last night was good, wasn't? No, because it wasn't good. It was fucking terrible. And look, at the end of it, I'm as angry as anyone else, but I have kept my pre-order. And I've ordered Zelda and a pair of the
So it worked.
It didn't, because I'm still frustrated and annoyed by it. And
you still bought it?
Yes, I did still buy it because I want to play The Legend of Zelda, and I will utilize the machine for other things down the line. Mario does look like Mario. Of course, you're going to play Mario, but what's going to tie me between Zelda and Mario? That's where my window of, all right, Mario Kart, cool, but I'm not going to sit and play 30 hours of Mario Kart on my own, am I? That's where you are. As I said, if I'm at work on my lunch break and someone else is sat there having lunch and I'm playing Mario Kart and I can slide out a controller and go play Mario Kart with me, that's wicked. That's serving the purpose.
That's cool.
I guess in some ways, 1-2 Switch is the same, but I refuse hands down to buy that game. But if you had people around for drinks, if you guys were here, do you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, cool, let's play the quick fire, quick draw thing, and if you lose, you have to neck a shot. Awesome. I see the potential appeal in it. If you look at the other games that come part and parcel of it, the table tennis thing, there's not even a ball. Like, what are you doing? These things just.
If I wanted to milk a cow, I'll do it by myself in my bedroom.
That just looks fucked up. It looks so wrong. Even the animation that's going on the screen looks wrong when it's happening.
Slow jerk movement.
The slow jerk movement. It's like, what the fuck? Man. Come on, Nintendo. Come on.
So good.
I know that people used to masturbate into fucking Wii Remote sleeves, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Masturbate into a Wii Remote sleeve. Never even heard or considered that. That is
Doesn't it have
amazing.
holes in it?
Man.
I'll send you an article that I read. I heard it on Jim Sterling's Podquisition. He was talking about the fact that this is an actual thing, and they linked an article into the. I'll see if I can find it. It's fucking brilliant. So yeah, that's where I stand on the Nintendo Switch. Everything about it fucking wound me up, but I still bought it anyway.
Yeah, man.
Because Legend of Zelda and a bit Mario Kart.
But hey, we had people on stage saying, "Hey, we really want to make a game for this soon, one day."
I do love that Bethesda. So Todd Howard's little segment where he's like, "We're so happy to finally be supporting a Nintendo console with a game that we finished development on a decade ago."
Yeah, 30 years ago. Yeah.
How hard was it to port that? This runs on a Tegra chip. How hard is it to port from Skyrim? The non-HD version is already on the Tegra Shield. You know, Nvidia's Shield thing. You can buy. How hard was it to port that for the Switch?
Yeah, they did it in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And as someone who doesn't play Nintendo, just the games, don't speak to me, and that's fine. But I did really want them to do something cool. Like, I was rooting for them. But, oh well.
I think
we'll see what happens.
That's why there was disappointment, because everybody was.
You always know you're going to get something different with them, and that's why they should stay being a presence, because we have PlayStation, Xbox doing essentially the same thing every gen. It's just how it is, and that's what we're expected to. They might try and do something different, but it's usually because Nintendo tried first. You know, with the motion control shit, everybody jumped on that and made their own spin on it. But you know, I like having a powerful box with a standard controller. That's cool. But if all three of them are doing the same thing, you know, what's the point? So it's good that they're doing
on the fact that the Pro controller here is also $90.
Yeah, the peripherals are more expensive than the games they're selling on the thing. Like, come on. God, like, you know where they're going to get their money back.
I'm happy that the majority of people that have come out of the events around the world and have used the Pro controller, the grip controller with the Joy-Cons installed into it, have said out of the box initially, there is no reason for you to buy a Pro controller.
No.
The grip that comes in the box feels totally fine. It feels like a standard controller when the Joy-Cons are in. It doesn't look like it should, but the
placement's all there. The placement is all there in that Joy-Con controller thing. The placement's all there. There's no point to get a Pro controller. You know, I think the actual Joy-Con thing as a whole looks cool. Like, I like the bigger control designs. Like, I like the original Xbox controller, the Big Duke, and I like the Dreamcast controller, and the Sega Saturn controller that they came out for Knights. That was cool. So I like the bigger kind of design. So that appeals to me. But man, I don't know. I'm jaded because I really wanted to be excited, and I thought this is going to be my new entry into Nintendo again. Like the last time I went all in Nintendo was GameCube, and I want that kind of back. I missed that part of gaming.
You know, if they'd have announced GameCube Virtual Console and that it was coming, and at launch we could download and play Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Twilight Princess, you know, like five marquee titles that the GameCube had.
Yeah.
No complaints about games. I wouldn't have any.
But you would.
I mean, they'd still be old games, but
they would be old games. But I'd personally, for me, I'd have no complaints.
Oh
because I know I can. Even Mario 64. If there's things like that I can download, these experiences that aren't going to take up huge room on the hard drive. That yes, all right, they're years old, but they're classics and games that I love playing. I'd be happy to then have to wait maybe 2 or 3 months to have the next Switch experience.
Well, you and I might give a shit about that, but the people that didn't grow up in those eras probably couldn't give 3 tosses because they're just old games.
But the people that didn't grow up in our generation don't give a fuck about Nintendo.
No, exactly.
They're not old enough to buy one.
Yeah.
And that's Nintendo's problem.
Yeah.
They knew that they had to cater for people who grew up with them and have that nostalgia for them. And again, all they've tried to do is capture the families and the little kiddies with motion control bullshit when they could have just made a machine that essentially was a Nintendo in your pocket.
Man,
What kind of Nintendo? Every Nintendo that's ever existed, you can emulate on the virtual console. And guess what? We're still making new experiences with Switch.
And could you imagine? Could you imagine if they came out swinging like Mario at launch, Zelda at launch, a new Metroid at launch, a new F-Zero at launch? You know, just these big new Donkey Kong at launch, like these big tentpole games for the first year. Like if those were like they only released 4 or 5 big titles that year and then sprinkled through the other shit. I mean, the world would have went batshit crazy because I think that's what everybody's expecting. I know I was because they went so quiet at the end of the Wii U.
I was expecting more than one big title.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Even like I said, Mario Kart. Give that anything that they were porting. I'd have expected the ports to be ready for launch. And there's still word that there's a Smash Brothers port coming. I think it's very weird that we didn't hear anything about that.
Oh, exactly. I know. If anything, I mean, they should have went the little bit extra mile with that Mario Kart 8 nonsense and just put some new tracks in and slapped a 9 on it. You know, just double down on it and go, oh, here's the next one. And
let's not get me started on Splatoon 2. That was the most cringeworthy part of that entire press conference. What was that guy doing? What was that guy doing?
That was my favorite part.
Splatoon 2 only runs at 720p, even docked.
Oh,
like, who cares? Like, really? It's Splatoon 2. What are you?
Well, I expect
out of it?
They keep saying that there's extra processing power in this dock, but what's it processing?
It's not the most graphically intensive game either. That shit should be running at 60 frames 1080, if not 900.
900 apparently is the Switch's sweet spot.
Well, it's coming out in summer, so we'll see.
Or is it? There seems to be some weird shit going down in that ink lab.
Yeah.
They kept talking about.
The squids are getting out.
What about other things that we noticed through it? Octopath Traveler, stupidest thing that Square Enix have ever put on a game, and that's Square Enix for you.
Oh yeah.
Project Octopath Traveler.
Look, one of my other favorite parts was when Reggie came on. I like Reggie. I every time he comes on screen or does a presentation, I can't help but listen.
He's got one of them voices.
Yeah, like that's just the way his mannerisms are and his what's the word? I lost the word completely, but it just manages to hold me in what he's saying, and it sounds like the most wonderful thing that he's saying, and it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It probably should have been a direct. It should have probably been handled by Nintendo of America. I think Japan are trying to bring back the home field in their country and stand behind their own product, and it's very Japanese businessman. That type of presentation was. It had some cheesy Japanese humor in it, but it just felt very Japanese. Like it's the same thing that you saw with Sega Mega Drive back in the day and the Dreamcast. Like Sega of America were going nuts in promoting and advertising and making it a success, but Japan studio, the home base, were like, no, we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to do that. But they were just like, well, fuck it, we're going to do it anyway. And that's what Nintendo should be doing. They'll be like, man, Nintendo America, there's millions of you there. There's 300 million of you. Just go insane and sell as much as you can. Appeal to the mass audience rather than your own country. As much as that sucks to say because they're a Japanese company, but it's like, you need to survive. You need to make a dent this generation. You need to make it work and just go all out. I'm disappointed.
I don't think I've got anything else to say about it. I've kind of burst a blood vessel in my head even thinking about it, I reckon. Just that none of the other games that they showed were even worth us talking about. The old Has-Been Heroes or whatever it was called. Doesn't appeal to me. Sonic Mania will come to it, probably be the platform that I play that on. Sonic is an experience I'd rather have in my pocket than sit and play.
2017. 2017.
Is that just says 2017? I'd imagine it's you'd think it needed to be.
There's 2 Sonic games this year.
Yeah, is it Sonic Mania or is it the game that
Sonic Mania is essentially what Sonic 4 should have been. And it's made by, I forgot his name, but he's prominent and famous for his ports of the HD versions of the original Sonic games to like XBLA and PSN. So he's making this with a bunch of other people, and he loves Sonic with a passion. So it shows from what I've seen so far. So I can't wait for that. I miss my 2D Sonic, something chronic. But when the next Sonic, it looks like Sonic Generations 2 that's coming out this year as well. There was a little snippet of that in the little sizzle reel at the end of the press conference thing.
I don't even know how that game's get. If it is Generations 2, I don't know how, because the first one was so poorly received.
Oh, it was one of the best Sonic games that's been sold. The best-selling Sonic game since, I don't know, it sold a few million. It did well.
This is the one where he has the hipster scarf, right?
No, that's Sonic Boom.
Right.
Sonic Generations is the one where both the old short stubby Sonic and the new modern Sonic collide, and they go through the game together, kind of thing. So it's like the best of both worlds. I really enjoyed that. So if it's in the initial trailer for that, it was the two of them again. So I think it's going to be a sequel, and it's a good decision because that sold really well and it was well received. So
cool. My mistake. Yeah. And to touch on Mario and what I thought of it, yeah, I agree with you, Chun. Do I really want him in New York City? No. But if it's a core Mario, Mario experience, I'm excited for it because Mario 64 is one of the best games ever made. Sunshine was excellent. Galaxy, they were good, but they didn't feel like...
Oh my God, I loved Galaxy 1 and 2.
They just didn't feel like that type of a Mario experience. So... we'll see, but that's my view on the Switch. Do you guys have anything to add before we stop talking about it?
Yeah, notice how little we talked about Mario.
Yeah, no, I really don't. Really don't have much more.
I don't know. It just goes to show how little we actually talked about Mario, about that whole reveal. I mean, that should have been one of the things we should be talking about the most, but it's just not. And I think that speaks volumes.
Well, that's because they're trying to get us excited for a game that's at the end of the year when they're at an event for something that's meant to be releasing, within 2 months, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, messaging, man, so poorly done.
Yeah.
Seriously poor messaging. Although the Zelda
they can still bring it back.
Was fantastic.
Yes,
but the Zelda trailer of a game that we knew what was coming anyway should not be the hype. Should not be the height of that press conference, even though it was.
That trailer had more endings than the Lord of the Rings ending did.
Yeah, pretty much. They should have ended with a Metroid tease. They should have ended with a Metroid tease. I think, like, they should have ended, like, the Zelda thing at the end, but they should have put something else, like a little nugget at the end of another franchise, just to get people hyped even more. Metroid would have been one of them. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, man. I'm over it. I'm getting frustrated just thinking about it.
Full form Nintendo, but please do something to Wales back.